An elementary school teacher has been arrested and placed on administrative leave after allegedly having child pornography and talking with an underage girl online.
Tonight, we have new information on what police found in their investigation of 58-year-old David Fawcett.
WMTV's Tabitha Bland joins us with what we've learned.
According to a search warrant for Fawcett's home, this all started when the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children contacted police in Texas about a 15-year-old girl sending explicit photos on the internet. One recipient, a Snapchat account that police traced to an IP address in Madison, which they say belongs to Fawcett. Fawcett is an elementary school teacher at Nuestro Mundo Elementary and has been licensed to teach for more than 25 years in Wisconsin. The warrant details explicit messages between the accounts, including nude photos and videos of the minor, instructing her to do sexual acts on and off camera, and both parties acknowledging the illegal age gap. MMSD confirms that Fawcett has been placed on administrative leave, saying the district handbook saying, quote, an arrest, indictment, or conviction of a crime is not an automatic basis for an adverse employment action, quote, but with the nature of this alleged crime, the handbook goes on to say possession of child pornography, regardless of whether it involves a district student, is considered grounds for disciplinary action up to and including termination. The search warrant also refers to a different case back in 2022 involving Fawcett. It says a detective responded to a tip from the same agency from TikTok and talked to Fawcett as part of her investigation about his TikTok account. Live in studio, Tabitha Bland, WMTV 15 News.
All right, Tabitha, thank you. Fawcett is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow.